When talking about pure competition, we had to make a distinction between the market and the individual seller. The market supply and demand graph on the left here shows the supply information for all the many sellers in the industry and the demand information for all the many buyers of this product. But the individual seller's demand is just the demand information for that one small seller who makes up a minuscule share of total market sales. When talking about pure monopoly, however, there are not many sellers of the same product. There's only one seller of a unique product. Therefore, that one monopolistic firm is the market supply. Their decisions on how much they should supply at each possible price is what makes up the market supply curve. Also, the customers who want to buy this product have only one choice for who they should buy from. So when there's a list of possible prices and the quantities customers want to purchase at each possible price, that information is the demand information for both the industry and the one seller in the industry. The market demand is the individual seller's demand in monopoly industries. So now we're going to talk about the marginal revenue for the pure monopolist. Remember that marginal revenue is change in total revenue. And to get to change in total revenue, we need a total revenue column of information. And so then we need, since total revenue is price times quantity, we need price and quantity information. So here's a list of possible prices and the quantities that would be demanded at every possible price. So at $6, 0 are demanded, but at $5, 1 unit is demanded. In order for there to be greater quantities demanded, like going from 1 quantity to 2 quantities, we'd have to lower the price to $4, and so on down the demand curve. In order to find our total revenue column, we would use the formula, once again, quick. Total revenue is price times quantity. So we're going to fill out the rest of this total revenue column. Pause the video if you need to. And you should have gotten that the total revenue column looks like this. To compute marginal revenue, we're going to take the change in total revenue. For the 0 units, we'll fill in a dash. For the first one, for the first unit, the marginal revenue was $5 because we went from a total revenue of $0 to a total revenue of $5. So change in total revenue was $5. Now pause the video and fill out the rest of the column. And you should have come up with this information here. When we go to graph the marginal revenue curve, we're going to use the quantity information as our x-axis information and the marginal revenue as our y-coordinate information. So this first plotting for the first unit would be over 1 and up $5. And it would graph right here. For the second unit, it would be over 2 and up 3. And it plot right there. And so on for the third unit at $1, and the fourth unit at -$1, and the fifth unit at -$3. When we put this all together, connect the dots, we get a marginal revenue curve that looks like this. Notice how the marginal revenue curve is sitting below the demand curve. That's because when we want to sell additional units, we have to lower the price. So let's say we're at the first unit, but we want to sell 2 units. If we wanted to sell 2 units, we'd have to lower the price to $4. So here I'm going to show you with cookies. Imagine that the product is cookies, and that if we wanted to sell only 1 cookie, the demand curve tells us that we could sell that 1 cookie for $5. And our total revenue would then be $5 times 1, which is $5. But when selling 2 cookies, we couldn't sell that second cookie for $5 because the demand information told us that there weren't enough people who wanted to buy the cookies at $5 a piece. So we would have to lower the price of the cookies to $4. If this seller was so lucky as to be able to sell that first cookie for $5 and the second cookie for just $4, then their total revenue would be $9, and the change in total revenue would be $4. But that's not how it works. When you go to buy the cookies, like at the kiosk, you'll notice that they don't charge people different prices for cookies. So when we lower the price of cookies to $4, we have to lower the price of all cookies to $4. So that first cookie has to sell for $4 also. Therefore, when we sell 2 cookies, our total revenue is actually only $8, and the change in total revenue is going to be $3. Notice how the $3 change in total revenue is less than the new price of the cookies of $4. That's why our marginal revenue curve is going to be sitting lower than the prices off of the demand curve. And we get a situation that looks like this, that when we lower the price to $4, the marginal revenue is actually only $3. And marginal revenue at every unit except the first will be less than the new price, the new lower price off the demand curve.